Hello, you beautiful and wondrous beings. Welcome back to another transmission. Some more time together. You get to see my face. Maybe you have been following along here and there via the socials or the podcast, but I actually have an announcement about that. The podcast has run its course. Queen Prophecies has been one of the most incredible opportunities that I have been given to display myself and do it from a place of service and love for the growth and the trajectory of the ascension of this planet. You know, it happened within the eclipse portal, and there's really no going back. You know, I have the episodes saved somewhere on the hard drive, and maybe there's about 5 episodes that you could still listen to here on YouTube. But other than that, they've returned to the ethers, they've returned to the cauldron, the big stirring chocolate pot, which to me, it means a lot. It actually means a lot that I listened to the advice of my soul saying to complete that. You know, when we create things, we can often feel like they're ours and we have to attach and we have to promote and we have to get it out there, and people need to listen, people need to hear, people need to know, follow along, all the things. And even with this channel, you know, I've had this channel before I should have ever even been speaking to a camera. Like, let's be real. I've grown through all of the baby stages, all of the stages of like stage fright and shaky voice, and what am I even, you know, talking about? Is it worthy of talking about? Is it worthy of putting out there in such a public space where anybody could stumble upon it? And that's kind of the whole point, is that I've been doing this since before I thought my voice was worthy of being heard by a crowd, by 1 million people, by 10 million people, by maybe even more than that. I always did this for a core soul group resonance that, you know, if you're tuned into this now, if you've gotten, I don't know, interested, intrigued about what's going to be shared today, besides just that bit about, you know, letting go of something meaningful, not attaching to the things that did mean a lot to us, that did really serve for a time. They served my growth. Every single one of those episodes, 51 episodes. I think I only, you know, deleted a couple episodes here and there of the 51 off the air, maybe like 2 or 3, because they kind of made me cringe. They were just at a very interesting time in my journey where the words that want to come through is I wasn't in full integrity, or I was extremely vulnerable and extremely sensitive to the energies at the time, which were the frequency that I was at that time. And so the things I was speaking of, like, I really believed I was divine union, or I really believed, you know, I was on this quest for my beloved in Avalon. That's one of the episodes I deleted. And that he was there, and that's why, partially why I went to Avalon for the second time, but this time with that one-way ticket. And no plan in the second year, the continuation of the COVID phenomena. So there is, there is just so much that journey showed me, that journey of putting things out there. Yeah, maybe taking 1 or 2 episodes back, removing them when it didn't feel right, when the people didn't feel resonant with me anymore. But for the most part, damn, I just want to like, yes, you freaking did it. You grew, you shifted, you changed, you shared, you provided a space so that wisdom could be shared, so that embodiment could be shared, so that humanity and dragon could be shared. And that is no small feat. That is no small, like, potatoes. Like, it's beautiful that happened. It's beautiful that I aligned for that. 4 years, 4 chakras. I started with the third eye. Season 1 was all about the third eye. Season 2 was all about the crown. Season 3 was all about reclaiming the throat power, especially after having lost my voice, lost my communication skills in my own personal, very, very real reality. I couldn't speak up for myself. I was being physically, I was shriveling. I was shriveling physically. It showed up in my voice. It showed up in the health of my body. And it was because I needed to remove myself from a situation that was very, very, very unhealthy, very dire, like my ancestors swooping in and saying, go to Ireland where you will be recharged, and stop trying so hard to be loved by people. The lessons with that really being, let people show up for you. Let people show up for you the way you have showed up for other people. Because if you're the only one all the time showing up, I'm there for you, I'm answering your desperate calls and your world's falling apart and all the things, and I'm always there, and I will hold ceremony, and I will sit with you, and I will cry with you, and I will provide advice if that's what's wanted. I will do all the things. I will pull out the oracle cards. I will set up a plan for your business. I mean, these are the things, imagine. These are the ways in which I was constantly betraying the training that I had had up until that point about how to energetically be me and not be taken advantage of. And I was just throwing it all out the window, including in business, including in personal relationships, the people that I lived with, the romantic interests, the way I've always partnered with men, the way that I've been in family as well. This has been a huge graduation when I released that throat chakra episode season at the beginning of 2023, after removing myself from that very, very seriously unhealthy situation, which I talked about openly on the podcast and very little on social media otherwise. And I definitely didn't feel the need to bring any more attention to the people that were involved, for the fact that they're vindictive, and I just wanted their energy gone from my field. I wanted the memories to also go back into the pot of cacao. I mean, they've never fully gone back. You know, I'm a very emotionally, like the depths of me, I can bring memory, recall is very, very easy for me, especially if there was strong emotional charge. And everything around Avalon for me, everything around the heart chakra, right? The heart chakra of the planet, Glastonbury, Avalon. There's a dimension of Avalon I've talked about. There's a video about that here on YouTube. The dimension or the realm of Avalon, fire and water. I'll link that video here if you're interested in that. But energetically, everything that had to do with getting to know my heart better, getting to know how I want to be loved, how I want to love others, how I want to be loved, and how I want to love myself. That happened because I took that one-way ticket to England, January 1st, 2021. So 111. I said, let's go on this heart chakra journey. And it's so interesting because I never got to make a heart chakra season for Queen Prophecies. And a part of me, you know, I could already just see like what and how that would be and how that would feel and how exciting it would be to bring that activation through to the collective. But here's the thing. When you let go of something, truly from a place of knowing that it's the right thing, it's the true thing, it's the authentic thing in that moment, in that time and space, I have decided to allow a possibility, or many possibilities actually, for the divine to guide me going forward, so that there is that possibility. When you truly allow something to leave your life, something again that meant something to you, something that you poured heart and soul into, you created from your womb, you created from your sacral, your sacrum, your body, your DNA, you know, you put hours, energy, you put yourself into it. And how could you not if you have a podcast? How could you not put yourself into that? And it doesn't have to be a podcast. It could be anything that you create. How could you not have essence of you that you're like breathing into these creations? And so everybody that's tuning in, everybody that hears a clip, a blip, you know, whether or not they listen to an entire episode, whether or not they read your book entirely, whether or not they do your full course, if that's what you're creating and people buy it and get activated, it doesn't matter. They've received your essence. They've received you through frequency, through the intention of you put out and they called it in. They called it in to listen to that 30-second clip on Instagram, you know, because everything there is like attention span of like a peanut. So, you know, the listen, instead of a 45-minute podcast, hour and a half podcast, 2-hour podcast, like they got the 30-second version, they received your essence. And the same thing with everything else you create. Imagine if you're an artist and you sculpt or you paint a masterpiece somewhere, and people just go to museums and maybe they walk right by your painting and they don't look at your painting because their eye was caught by something else in that room, but they walk past your painting. You think they're not receiving you? You think they're not receiving the codes that you put into that piece, that work, that creation? Confirmation of my dogs. They're like, yeah, your creation. So where were we going with this? We're talking about the throat chakra season 3 of the podcast, and then season 4 was all about the waters, for the waters. You heard me doing it. I simultaneously created at the same time that I was birthing season 4, which I called For the Waters because it was the sacral chakra season. I birthed a course called For the Waters that was for divine feminine, was for women that were ready to really course through the planetary body of Gaia, through the grids, with water, with activations, with frequencies and assists by the plant and the flower realms, our beautiful, incredible loves and kin, you know, in this realm, the plant realm, that is such a huge part of what I do when nobody's looking, what I do when the camera's off, and what I've done throughout my entire journey as a serpent, as a dragon, has been to stick my nose in plants, follow their lead, follow their advice, stick things in my hair, pick rosemary and stick it behind my ear, and walk through the town when I'm just a tourist and I have no idea, literally no idea, that I'm ever going to start working and teaching and living these principles, these ways of plant wisdom, these ways of allyship with the plant realm, the mineral realm, the realms of water, as we've already stated, and also of all of the other earth chakras, of all of the other elements, right? Fire, water, earth, air, ether. These are the realms. These are the realms that I worked from and I brought forth and I created to share. Because why have all of this knowledge? Why have all of this wisdom in the self, in the body? Why have this desire for other people to experience the heights that you've experienced, and also experience the connection and the profound love that you have felt, that I have felt, from flowers, from essences, from tinctures, from Mama Cacao, my main mama, my main ally, my main teacher, my main guide, who, by the way, I'm taking a break from right now. I am taking a break from. This episode is going to be about confessions, apparently. Confessions and revelations. So stick with me. There's pieces of a grand pie that I want to share with you. And it's my honor to do it. It's my honor to be inspired to sit here and talk. Because I thought with the podcast closing, I was like, so am I gonna not want to talk unless it's in a ceremony, in a container? And it's not true. Like, that's not why I gave up Queen Prophecies podcast, which, by the way, I feel called to share that I deleted the podcast on the day of the storm. Kawok. It was 11 Kawok. 11? Yeah. Pretty sure it was 11 Kawok. So very strong, very high energy in Maya time. We only go through cycles of 13 days in the Maya time. So we're talking 11. It's actually the number associated with chaos, or like there's just a lot going on. And it's true. It was 2 days before the eclipse. So yes, it was 11 Kawok. 2 days before the eclipse. And I was like navigating this really interesting space of knowing that it was already gone, that it already wasn't mine. Imagine. 4 years, a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of energy, and like we already said, a lot of me, my essence in that space that was all over the internet. in many, many places. And almost like what I'm hearing right now is like spread too thin, you know? Like I poured so much of myself in that space over 4 years, and so much electrical charge was behind that creation that I didn't have that charge necessary for other aspects of my life that needed it, including financials, including making a plan about how to become fully sovereign, fully sovereign in every body. So we're not just talking about being spiritually sovereign, because I believe I'm spiritually sovereign. I truly believe I've made mistakes, but I'm at such a point in my life that I know nobody could harm me again, that I know I can't be bamboozled by any other spiritual anybody ever. I'm saying those words because they feel true for me right now, and so I'm going to speak them, and maybe you need to hear them. I am never going to be bamboozled by any spiritual robe wearing Instagram fakes and, you know, just anybody, people messaging me and wanting to meet me and wanting to again, take, not equal exchange, take what it is I had, what I had already embodied, what I had already solidified in me, as part of my soul retrieval. And the only thing I'm hearing here is like there's a difference between solidify and crystallize. And so I had solidified a lot of these pieces, and because it wasn't crystallized in the water system yet, that's why the last season of the podcast was for the waters, because the waters needed to be purified, the awareness needed to be brought to the waters, the relational, right? The relational space in our body. If your waters are sovereign, you are sovereign. And you're protected. And they cannot touch you in any realm. And I still needed them to crystallize all these pieces, all these beautiful seeds, all these beautiful retrievals. We're talking about nearly 10 years now, but maybe in 2021 when I was still pretty vulnerable, 2022, 2023, like I said, I got out in 2023, so I was still a little bit vulnerable. We're talking about 7 or 8 years already of this really powerful retrieval that just needed time to crystallize. And if I had slowed down, and I know this is like, I'm like talking to my past self, like being like, if you just kept on with this kind of flowy, kind of slow, like don't really have a plan, watery, mothery kind of, somehow that might have protected me and given me the space to integrate fully without then taking on all of these new waves of beautiful seeds, of beautiful things and energies and frequencies, but again, mixed in there with other people's energies. So this is what I call the murky waters. This is what I call, I'm gonna just give us a little bit of incense while I'm speaking this. Yeah, this is where the waters can mix and match, and then your red and your blue make purple, and you're like, what the fuck, I don't want that. I want my waters. Or, you know, you're trying, right, to call in divine union, but there's no space for a masculine because you have all these masculine women taking up the masculine space in your life. Imagine Imagine you're talking about the red and the white and the beautiful springs in Avalon, and you're not only talking about them, because I wasn't talking about them, I was living this. I was living going to the springs as a priestess, drinking my water there, blessing my womb, my throat, my head, even in the dead of winter, in all seasons, smoking my tobacco, bathing my crystals in these waters, praying in these gardens, the sacred gardens that are actually home to some really beautiful lion energy and Syrian beings and soul family and star family for me at the Lion Fount. I talk all about this in the Avalon video, so do check that out if this is sounding interesting to you. The botanical gardens, the sacred gardens of the Chalice Well, which house the red spring, which is the feminine spring. It's the spring that turns, you know, stone red because of the iron content. It's like, it's red, it's serpent, it's blood, it's us. It's us as the feminine. And then the white spring, holding this really beautiful masculine energy, this really beautiful calcium-rich water. And a very different flow. I mean, there's a temple, but there's also just a space to kind of hang out on the outside where you don't have to do really anything. I would actually go there, smoke tobacco, watch the birds, listen to the birds, watch the trees, feel the water rushing all around me, because it kind of breaks through the stones. They've created a really beautiful flow for the white spring outside of the White Springs little temple. And this is a longer story, actually. I might have to get into this at some point, but I was initiated in the temple by the waters, freezing cold waters of the White Spring that literally feel like you die when you enter them, if you enter them, if you're brave enough to like completely submerge, which I did in my underwear, completely submerged myself in 2018, the first time I went to Glastonbury. Straight from Greece. It was like one-way ticket, flying to England, meeting the heart chakra for the first time, but this was just like a blip. This was like 11 days, now fly back to Spain and continue dismantling, right, all the pieces of your life, all the identities that you've been holding on to for too long. And let's see if you return. And I did. I returned just 2.5 years later. I'm living in England. I'm living walking distance from these springs. And so that's why I say I'm not just talking about these things. I was living the teachings. I was living the remembrance. I was living the Grail journey, which, by the way, Grail comes from Graal, which is, they say it's from the word sang real. Sang real eventually made Graal, eventually became Grail, like the Grail quest of Arthur and all the knights. The Grail quest, the Holy Grail, the Holy Chalice. Again, the feminine. The feminine. Feminine wisdom. Knowledge embodied is wisdom. That's why knowledge is always seen as like kind of direct, like this, like a sword, like a phallic, you know, like a penis. And wisdom is always referred to as like this pot, right? Or this pool of water, this pool, the ocean, right? The ocean, waters, deep, right? Round, not straight, not flat. There's depth. And it's not that knowledge is flat. These are just take it for what it is. This is how it's coming through. So I want you to just take a step back from all of this verbiage, from this flowy transmission, and just put your hand on your sacral, on your womb if you're a woman, or just somewhere on your lower belly. Could be the lower dantian, couple of inches below your belly button, but not quite as far as your root, not quite as far as your pubic bone, the lower dantian. This area, these waters, they are crystallizing for many of us, and for some of us, they have crystallized. And when they crystallize, clarity arrives. And that means more dismantling. That means more sight to then decide and discern, that needs to go. I need to go. I need to move. I need to change. I need to get on it. I need to choose, right, my next step. Not necessarily wait for it, but how about choose it? Like, I have my next steps. I could literally show you this beautiful, colorful rainbow from my journal that I wrote out at the very beginning of 2025, Year of the Serpent. So we're talking about 3 months ago. Now I wrote out what my year was going to be like, all the places I was going to travel. Just to throw out a few places, I wrote Catalina Island in January. I went end of December and I came back on January 1st. I have Maui written here. So I must have been writing this not at the beginning of January, at the end of December. That's right. February 222 Maui, Mu return, Hawaii. Yeah, ruby codes, and I drew a volcano. I've already been there and come back, and I absolutely was there for all of this 222 energy. I was there on 2/2 and I flew back on 2/11, and I arrived on the last day of the dragon year. The first day of the serpent year was like my first full day there. So there's something to this, like, you know, make your plan, have steps, have next steps, but then don't attach to that to the point where you drive yourself crazy. Just be ready, be fluid. Again, I hope you're still holding your womb. Be fluid enough to trust that the loudest, right? The loudest hits down here in your lower dantian, in your gut, the loudest hits are the ones that you must listen to. I'm hearing moving for a lot of you. Moving. Even just moving neighborhood, moving house, moving apartment, right? Moving the body. If you want to stay in the same place, then you better start moving the energy in that place. And what a great way to move the energy, by starting with your own serpentine system, your own spine, your own body. And I say this because I do this. If I can't move physically out of California, which right now is not physically possible, right now, although I have the miracle card on my altar, and I'm like, if anybody wants to send a big fat donation, like, you will have infinite access to like all that I do, all that I create, retreats and everything going forward. Like, you know what, just send me that check, and then we will have that beautiful connection in this life where you will just always have access to Dragons Love Cacao and all the beautiful things. That's absolutely a possibility. But until everything else is created and birthed through me, some specific things that want to be created and birthed here in California, and I love that. I love that California and me have gotten to this place where she's asking that of me, and I'm saying yes to that. Whether it's retreats, whether it's physically just meeting people on the land in certain places that I know really, really, really deeply, really well. I know the energy's there. I've been speaking to the waters, singing to the waters, rattling over the past 3 years with different rattles on the land. and calling the waters back to California, calling the waters back to us. Why? Because again, without our water, we're nothing. Without our flowing water, yes, there's beautiful things in cities, but there's also so much corruption and disruption of the natural flow and energies that these locations need. California's rivers have not flowed properly for a long time, nor have they flowed full, rushing, gushing, where the indigenous used to take care, use, drink, bathe, create with these waters and co-create. And again, steward, be a voice when those waters, when the energies weren't right, when ceremony needed to be held on the waters, in the waters, and for the waters. Because if you think the waters in the city or the town or the village or the country that you live in, if you think the waters are not us, think again. If you happen to live somewhere where the waters are very pure, that's a beautiful reflection of your pure energy. If you live somewhere where the waters are murky and corrupt and trickle and don't flow and have been taken over, have been hijacked for other purposes, abused, used, shut down, shut off, diverted, redirected. Again, we think we can do this to Gaia constantly without having her consent, without having her on the board deciding actually no, diverting that river is not that great. Actually no, creating that dam, no, I don't want that. So she's allowed all of this to happen to a certain extent because we are at a tipping point. We are at a tipping point. The scales are about to balance out. So these are the cards that I've had on my altar. This one on the morning of the eclipse. No wonder the red and the white springs wanted to be spoken of. And balance, I just picked this dragon this morning. So with that, I want to give you the opportunity to close your eyes. Your hands don't have to be on your belly anymore. Your hands can be free to move as they choose, as they want. Maybe some of you really want to work on opening your chest. So, a good way to do that is kind of to roll your shoulders back a couple of times. Bring your shoulders up to your ears and then back down while you're breathing. And then on the last one, leave them back, kind of exaggerated, as if you want to bring your shoulder blades together. And then you could put your hands either on your shoulders or you could open them. I don't have space to open them here. I'll open one wing. You could open them like a dragon wing. And from this space, again, eyes closed. Now maybe is a good time to close them. I want you to feel into your dragon energy. I want you to feel into your water system and also your skeletal system, also your nervous system and your chakra system. All simultaneously. You have the capacity. Don't think about it too much. Just know that that's what you're going to do right now. And from this place, I want you to feel and think simultaneously. So we're involving the sacral, the heart, and the third eye. And I want you to connect to the closest water source to you, natural water source to you, and see if that water source gives you any information about where your waters are. As I said, the waters outside reflect the waters inside of us. So I will use LA as an example. Los Angeles, California, the waters are often trickled. They're not full, they're not flowing, they're not overflowing. They're not clean necessarily either. They're not drinkable. So how is that a reflection of me? I'll use the body, the material body as an example. So material body versus spiritual body, or versus mental body or emotional body. I'm going to use the material body, the material realm. So there's certain things in my material realm that are not overflowing, that are not fully clean, that are not free flowing. They can't do, I can't do, that's what I'm hearing. I can't do everything that I want right now because I'm lacking in the material realm. And the waters of LA are a place, the rivers specifically I'm hearing, the rivers, the LA River and the Santa Ana River are the two closest rivers to me. And the San Gabriel River, I'm sorry, it's 3 rivers. These 3 rivers are reflections that there is more to be done. And so when the material realm reflects a certain thing, you can go to the other realms to activate, to assist, to help that realm. So I can go to the spiritual realm. I can go to the spiritual waters, to my spiritual system, my spiritual guidance, right? Spirit guides, soul family, star family. And I can ask for their assistance. Those connections will bleed over. Those blessings will bleed over into the material realm and get me sorted out. But if for you it's something different, maybe the waters are reflecting that your spiritual realm, your spiritual waters are a little bit low or a little bit empty. So maybe you financially have the ability to spend the money to take yourself to a place of retreat, of meditation, contemplation, maybe somewhere where you can connect to joy or the inner child or the divine feminine or the divine masculine version of you, the queen, the king, and really, really sit with that. You have the material, the financial to back up the other realms that are lacking right now. That's why people don't understand. The balance is so important. The balance is so important. Where you spend your money is so important. If you have Netflix, this isn't to shame you, but every single subscription, if it is not supporting one of the other realms or bodies, I'm saying realms, but one of your bodies, one of your realms, mental, spiritual, emotional, physical, if it's not doing that, then perhaps you're going to want to think about redirecting that resource. Money is a resource, it's energy. Redirecting it somewhere where it is going to do that. And only you know. Again, gut check. Only you know what's really true for you. You could have it all eventually. You can have all of these bodies in perfect harmony and live out your beautiful dharma. I'm hearing the dharma on this planet, right? Beautiful service, beautiful life. imbalance. But I guess it's just my job right now to reflect that a lot of us are trying, and we're getting there. We're balancing the books, balancing the internal realms. And it's something very brave to admit, oh yeah, spend too much money on like ridiculously good meals that aren't good for me. And why? Perhaps you can spend all the money on the alcohol and the beach view and the boat on the vacation and all of that, and taking photos like it's the time of your life, but then you get back and you feel empty, spiritually lacking. Mentally, you're just numbed out. Emotionally, you're numbed out. These are all examples, so only take what resonates. And again, feel, and perhaps pull out a journal after this, or do some movement, or do some lion's breath, or some yoga, or some stretching, neck rolls. I mean, this is your time. This is your life. I am a mirror. I am an oracle. Today's the day of the spider or the web, or the day of connection. So for some reason, we are all connected through our waters, through the grids, through DNA, through our shared collective, which is humanity. And some of us are connected on the other collectives, like the galactic, brothers and sisters, the dragon collective, all the things. So just know that what I share is from a place of deep turmoil, alchemized into deep love, clarity, and understanding. Deep pain transmuted into incredible opportunity to serve, to show up, to let things go when they need to go, to let ego, again, be in check with my gut as well, and to continue using this voice, because it was never about delete your voice or shut off your voice or stop communicating. It was about shifting and pivoting into how and when and why and from what place I share. And YouTube has always been a place that holds me in all facets of my journey, whether or not the million or the 10 million, or like I said, a lot more is catching on yet. Just know that my essence is in this transmission, and you will see the ripples in your life after you connect to your waters today. I love you. I will be seeing you here. I will be seeing you in some other places. I will leave some links in the description. We have one really exciting gathering that's going to happen sometime in June. It's going to be our second Cacao Dragon portal. The first one is available on replay just for a little bit longer, but I feel that we really opened something with that one, so I'm giving it a little bit of space to stay, again, as a doorway, as a possibility, should you need that community and also that spiritual realm, if you need that to be nourished. It's affordable. It's $40, and you get the incredible Jaguar calendar for the entire year of the serpent. So the gathering was $33.33 to join, and the calendar is like less than $7. Whereas if you buy the calendar alone for the Jaguar, it's $22.22. And if you buy any of the Nahuales, it's $22.22. If you want the 7 Nahuales, yes, I have created a Mayan calendar system that is from my own experience. So I'm not changing the system. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I have pulled only 7 nahuales, and these are the archetypes of 20 that we have in the Maya calendar. And I have taken the 7 that I worked with extremely, extremely intimately. I'm talking about tracking every 20 days these 7 nahuales in my phone for nearly 3 years now. And so we have the nahual of fire, Toch, the nahual of the bees, honey, the hawthorns, and the human experience. That would be Ahmak. We have that's the breath, that's divine authority, that's the spine. Spiritual authority as well. We have Ish, that's the jaguar I mentioned, the mother, the divine feminine, also connected to sacred sites on the planet, like physical, material, sacred sites. What am I missing? Canil, which is my Maya sign. It's the star, the seed, connected to Venus, and the dragon and the serpent, Kan. Which is connected to Kundalini, which is connected to power, which is connected to divine authority, connected to the grid worker path. All of these 7 nahuales, each and every one, I have given you all of the days in a calendar where you can track. It's a dragon day. Okay, 20 days, it's a dragon day. 20 days, it's a dragon day. And see how that starts to change your reality and your concept of time. And if you want to combine some of them together, like you want the dragon and you want the jaguar, you want to really see and feel and understand those two, then you might as well just buy the 7. Because you're gonna want to get with Mayan time. Trust me. Life hack, life hack, life hack. And IXCACAO is connected to all of these nahuales. She's connected to Maya time. So if you're working with cacao anyways, this is just like taking that devotion and that connection and that doorway to the next level. Giving everybody the opportunity again to get the replay and the Jaguar calendar for the month of April, and then that's gonna close. You can still get all of the calendars anytime this year, but the next Cacao Dragon portal is in June, so you'll be able to sign up for that a little bit before June with more details, dates, exact times, exact theme and feels. It's very Jaguar, you guys. It's very, very, very it's very Tikal, it's very Guatemala. We're gonna link it with the dragon lines and the beautiful lion and leonine codes that came through our first Cacao Dragon portal. But again, we're just taking it up a notch with the Jaguar. And I'm gonna leave you with this beautiful iris, which my mom picked for me this morning. I had been talking about irises for a while, and every time we'd walk by one, I would stick my nose in it and I would just like make love. Make love with the iris. Like merge my energy with her for a little bit. And then this morning she just appeared in the kitchen for me. So I'll leave you with that, beloveds. You know where to find me. www.dragonslovecacao.com for everything. See you soon. Quiero ascender, reptar de una vez, cruzar el cero ya, cerrar el círculo aquel, donde la flor duerme en la cruz. Cuando el azul llegue a tu cara y la luna a tu cabeza azul.